Shalom and welcome to another episode in our series called Israel on Location. Today I'm actually hiking on a unique trail on the west side of a palace fortress built by Herod the Great called Masada. I hope you're enjoying this series called Israel on Location because we're going to not only just places where we've maybe been before, sites that people visit, but I want to take you on this pathway. This is a unique location. We're on the west side of Masada, and we're walking up this path just so that you can see what we're doing. And what we're seeing is this west side of Masada. There's the Roman ramp. I'll just zoom in just quickly. And this palace fortress that was initially built in the 30s BC by Herod the Great. And even as we, from this angle, can see the three-tiered northern palace. So this is a unique location. And I love taking you in this series to places not visited by too many others. So when we walk up this pathway, thanks for hanging out here with me, and know that not many people have taken this path. It actually goes all the way around to the eastern side. Masada is a long story, and I can't really tell the whole thing here, but close to 1,000. Josephus says, I think 967 people. There's the Dead Sea. So that's where we are. It extends north of here. And then, once again, this standalone mountain that perhaps even back in the days of David was what 1 Samuel 24 calls the stronghold. And once again, this western side and this ramp that was eventually built by the Romans after unsuccessfully getting to the top where, again, 900 plus Jews were hiding out. They had store rooms filled with food. They had cisterns, 12 of them. They had all that they wanted to, all they needed, water, food. And these Romans who built a wall around this Masada, this fortress. Silva, the general, shows up. He too is wanting to get to these Jews, and they hold out until they decide to take their own lives after the Romans built this Roman ramp and took their battering ram to the top. And once they break through the casemate wall, they discover that all the Jews, with a few exceptions, all killed themselves. They'd rather fall to their own hands instead of falling from the sword of the Romans. So this is a very, very interesting site called Masada, and from this perspective, we can see really a lot. The sun is behind us to our west, and this afternoon, even though it's hot, you can see the beauty, really, of this fortress. In fact, I don't know if I can zoom in here. We just visited some of these cisterns on the western side. You can see some of the holes, if you will. They sort of look like holes. They're entrances to the cisterns. So when it would rain, it only rains a couple times a year here, they would divert, that is, the Jews on top diverted the water into cisterns, and they had plenty of water collected by that means. So we're almost right below where Silva, the general, the Roman general, was positioned. And I'm sure he looked up as we are today, looking up and saying, oh, I wish I could get to those Jews. And certainly that's what happened eventually in 73 AD, a few years after the temple would be destroyed in Jerusalem. These Jews also would come to an end. So perhaps one other word about Masada as we make our way further on this trail. What a great perspective. This northern palace can be seen. Just think that Herod the Great had not only this fortress here on the west side of the Dead Sea, but he also had another one called Machaerus on the east side. These were places where he could retreat to just in case his people, his leaders, even people within his family would rebel against him. So Herod the Great was known to be a great builder. He built this, of course, Caesarea, Machaerus, Jericho, of course, the temple in Jerusalem. But one thing that this palace fortress does remind me of, and it comes from Psalm 18, one of my favorite psalms. First two verses says, God is our fortress. He's our deliverer. That word for fortress is the word where we get the name Masada. It's in Hebrew, Metzada. Metzada. You hear the similarities. Well, that's what God is. He's like a big standalone mountain fortress, later used by Herod the Great. Maybe David's stronghold back in the days of the Old Testament. That's 1 Samuel 24. But God still is our fortress in many, many ways if we entrust our walk of faith to Him. So thanks for hanging out with me here on location on the west side of Masada on a hot yet sunny day here in Israel. Hope your day's going well, and until next time, shalom.